How's it going, YouTube? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another video, and today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different, not the jobs. We're going to be looking at how to prepare your XP and how you can prep yourself for what we can expect in the Shadowbringers expansion. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is actually a diagram that actually was posted on Reddit, which actually made around its way to a lot of different Discords. It's basically something that is quite useful if you need to get level 80 as soon as possible. As an advocate for that myself, I'm basically probably going to be stupid tired when I get to level 80, because it's going to be sometime at nighttime, presumably anywhere between 6 p.m. and onwards, and I will have to be up at 4 a.m. in order to prep for all of this. So to get myself into the mood and get myself in ready for the long grind of the story, and then getting myself to level 80, which I'm probably just going to pass out immediately after the fact. So basically you have the challenge log. So now the challenge log is based on how much levels you have in your character. So this is something that I recommend to use when you are level 71, as it gives you the biggest XP jump, or the biggest like kind of cushion or kind of fail-safe, as it were. Reason being is because last time, in order to get to level 60, it was around 500 or so K EXP. The jump between that and level 61 was around 800K. But the difference from that to level 62 was around like 1 point something million. It was a lot bigger of a jump. So typically something like this you want to save for level 71. Now, what I've gone and done, so this is different from what this EXP preparation guide says. So I've done the guild Hess, I've done the player commendation, that's already set up. The fates I've already set up. I also have the leave quest ready to go. So basically the way I've done it is I basically selected all of the Heaven's Ward battle quest leaves, because there's none in Stormblood. Barring the ones that are just super annoying to do. And then I have the Mordona ones, which I have to do a pair of them twice, because the max amount of leaves that you can have is 16 at a time. So as long as you do 4, it's fine. And the quest will not complete itself until you've handed them in. So you can stockpile 16 leaves, do 4. It won't complete either of the quests, because you need 5 different plates for the leave quest, or a total of 20 leave quests in general for that, in order to complete it all. So basically you can stockpile them, then you can hand them all in. It is only going to be a small chunk of XP, but it's still going to be worth something. The guild hests are pretty straightforward. You just do I think it's the third guild hest, the one in Bachman, where you just go and just kill him. Just do that 9 times. Player commendations you can do pretty much at any time. Now fates are being changed slightly. So with fates, they're introducing the system where you have a currency which you can put towards buying different items, getting different boosts, all sorts of rewards in that regard. Whether the rewards are going to be as serious as mounts, I'm still not sure about that, or if it's going to be region based or what have you. We still have yet to see the full idea. We know basically that there's going to be some type of token system, to whereas depending on how well you do in the fate, that depends on your reward. And then also those rewards then amp up based on if the fate has a fate chain. So you typically remember that the Asm step ones had a lot of them in sequence that you would do. So that's something that can be look forward to there. So whether they completely remove the 2 Fate EXP challenge log things, then we'll have to see. The Fate ones are pretty straightforward. You just go into anywhere in Limsa Laminsa, basically. So Moorbury Docks, Summer for Farms. You just kill what would be 6 fates, and then you just do 3 fates in other regions, and then you just make sure you do the last fate in a different region. Now with dungeons, it's a bit tricky, right? So typically the duty roulette you're not going to do right away. You're going to want to wait to do it, or you're going to do a little bit of the story first. You're not going to do it right away. You're only going to do it when there's potentially downtime, or there's going to be a lot of quests that you're going to be doing in sequence, or you're typically going to do it with FC members, and that sort of stuff. So what I've done is I'm thinking ahead here. So they have said that they're introducing 9 dungeons in the next expansion. That is 1 more than what we had before, because in the last expansion we had 8. We had our level 61 dungeon, which was the sea song, the one where you're on the ship. You had Shisui of the Violet Tides, level 63. We had the it was the one in the Asm Step, but it's the one that where you get to play Mario Party basically. At level 65, level 67 was Doma Castle. Level 69, Castra Babania, and then we had Alamigo, Temple of the Fist, and Kugane Castle. Those are the 8 that we had. They're saying that they're going to be doing 9, so I don't know if they're going to be adding an extra expert dungeon. Is there going to be a dungeon strictly for story? In which case, is it going to be at level 70? Is it going to be at level 80? I'm not sure. Is it going to be part of the expert roulette? We'll have to see. The only thing that's going to be able to tell us this is the patch notes, because it tells us the level requirement that we need to get in the dungeon. So that's something we're going to need to look out for there. And the reason this is so important is because if you do the 5 or the 4 out of 5 dungeons and the first dungeon is at level 70, you don't want to complete the XP until you're 71, because you get a significant increase in EXP bonus when you're level 71 versus level 70, because the XP gap or change in the way we generate XP after your first level of a tier of 10 is significantly higher. So like I mentioned before, at level 60 to 61 was around like 700, 800k, and then it jumped up to like 1 point something million. It was a big drastic jump. Whereas this time it's probably going to be, I think it was 10.8 million, so it's probably going to be around like 11 point something, and then it's probably going to jump to like 13 or something crazy. You know, plus you're probably only going to be able to use this on something like, so if you go to do leveling roulette, let's say, as your third duty roulette, most likely it's going to be on the level 71 dungeon, which is what everyone's going to be doing. So it's probably going to put you in that, assuming you're not in a full party, because a full party can basically put you in anything. But the most likely thing that you're going to do is get put into the level 71 dungeon, which is nice because that's the dungeon you want to do. You get the most XP out of it because it is not only a dungeon on your level, but you also get the bonus from the roulette for leveling roulette. Another thing to note is that these ones here are not out of roulettes. You can do the 2 out of roulettes to stockpile for this quest, but these ones are not done through roulettes. So when you just queue up, the first time you have to queue up for a dungeon, so if it happens to be level 70 dungeon, and you've done 4 out of 5, it's gonna activate this immediately. Are you still gonna gain XP? Yeah, of course you will, so it's not the end of the world, and it all depends on when you want to use it. I'm just saying my personal preference is to do it at level 71. Also, we have the hunt marks. So what I've gone and done is I picked up last week's Heaven's Ward and Stormblood B rank hunts, and so that when I do those ones there, then I can grab the other ones for this week. I've also gone and done the hunt marks. So if it has 3 mobs that I need to kill, I kill 2 of them and then I note down the position. So as an example, I think in the fringes, I got 2 that were actually in the same location. One was one of the bears, and it was the other one. It was like a moss bowl thing. I can't remember what the name of it was, but I've noted down all the coordinates and where I need to go. So like the Dravanian Forelands, I have 4. In Azaz Law, I only have 1. I only have a B rank in the locks. I don't have any mobs that I need to kill in the locks. And the B ranks I got were Squonk, False. I can't even pronounce his last name. The one from the Germanian hinterlands, the gorilla. And then I have the Yangsha Daedar, the little I can't remember. I don't know what they're called, but it's the like the walking face thing. And then the locks I have the Scorpion Yiwa. So I have those all noted down. So basically that's kind of what you want to do, because you don't get any XP from really killing the mobs. It's barely noticeable in the 3 digits. But you get the big chunk from when you complete it. So you get everything within 1, note down the positions, and then you just go around, bang, 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 bang. All pretty straightforward to do. I'm doing them on Warrior, just because it made it the easiest. So I just went up and inner released it and fell cleaved it once, and it pretty much died. And the other thing to note is the total amount of XP that you will get. So basically you get 4K, if assuming that the Fate ones are in there. You get effectively 2.1 from the Heaven's Ward hunts, or thereabouts. And then you get the 1.9 from the Stormblood hunts. So this is assuming you have the full stack of all of those. And yeah, so it's a lot of XP. It ends up working around to be around like 8 million. So that would be 80% of what you had before to get to max level from 69 to 70. So it's going to be super, super good. It probably will end up equating to around maybe a third to 40% of a level, I would assume. So not going to be a crazy amount, but it is going to make it so that you just have to do one less dungeon, which for DPS is one less queue time that they have to deal with. Assuming that you're leveling a DPS that isn't Dancer on the first day. And then what can we expect from the expansion? Well, expect downtime, right? You can't spoil the MSQ if you can't play it. This is one of the Raubon memes. If anyone who played Stormblood during early access, basically what happened was there was a instance where you had a character, Raubon, who required you to do a fight with him. That was a fairly long fight. Considering it was just an instance, it was ended up equating to around, I think it was anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes, depending on how fast you did it. And the problem was it was 45 minutes if you were playing slow, 20 minutes you would meet it if you were playing fast. And the problem was everyone was getting into it or trying to do it all at the same time very early on in the story quest. So you couldn't actually get in the instance servers because they were just crashing. So now you're just going to go into a queue, which will help alleviate that. The only problem that could potentially rival this is that everyone may be doing the trust system. So if there is a dungeon level 70 that everyone wants to do with the trust system, it may crash the instance servers so that you can't get into any dungeons at all. And that would be, or any type of instances in that regard. So anyone who's leveling Dancer or leveling Gunbreaker won't be able to get into Heaven on High. Anyone who's doing main scenario dungeons can't level that way. So this is where you can do the stuff like the hunts, the fates, those sorts of things to level, which is why it's good to have them prepped. And if you want to do an additional stacks, you can do so as well. Especially if you had the stacks from last week and you stacked up on both aspects of it. This is kind of basically what it looked like. It was everyone standing around Raubon and him not letting people in. So that was always fun. Not really. I didn't get to play the game until Sunday, and early access was out Friday, first thing in the morning. So yeah, it wasn't a great time, but hopefully they can alleviate that. I'm just worried about the overall trust system. So some things you can expect. One, there's going to be downtime at some point. There will be some type of maintenance which puts the game out for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, who knows. So expect that. Two, make sure you have a backup plan. That's one of the best things that you can obviously have. You have a different way of just gaining EXP, even if it's XP to do with other jobs. So like what people were doing is they were going into PvP because people couldn't get in this instance, as an example. It was just the instance servers, not the actual like dungeon or PvP servers. So that's fine. You can just you just want another avenue to where you can get closer and closer to level 80 while everyone's kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Or what some people did is they just went and gathered and they end up getting max level, obviously burning through the rest XP, but that's your decision how you want to do it. Now there's obviously so many different ways to get XP. You have the company, free company buffs. You have the things you can get from your squadrons. You have food. You have the new earrings for anything below level 70. You have a whole bunch of these different things. And then lastly, if there's one of that's my personal favorite of mine, is make sure you keep yourself nourished and hydrated. We don't want people trying to, go into a dungeon half asleep or they ain't had enough water or something like that, and they just get really grouchy because it just makes the fun time of a new game less fun for everyone. Not only for the player that is, not taking care of themselves, but also it doesn't make the experience good for the other players, which is why people are probably using the trust system, because they only have to interact with the computer. But But yeah, make sure you plan out your meals. For me personally, I'm making sure I have a nice thing of rice, vegetables, and chicken all planned out for my first 6 meals. So that should cover my first couple of days. And then I'll have the rest of the stockpile in containers and stuff like that. So that's another thing to kind of have. And then always have a water bottle on your desk. I have one on my desk constantly. It's 32 ounces, so it holds quite a bit. If you want to save some time and just get bottled water and just have those by the desk, that works too. Whatever suits your fancy. You just want to make sure that you're hydrated, because obviously when you're hydrated, you can stay awake for longer, because water flowing through you basically allows you just to concentrate and stay awake a lot longer. And you want to make sure you obviously have a nice meal to make sure that you can keep yourself going and you're not tiring yourself out, because the last thing you want to do in the start of an expansion is burn yourself out immediately. And by not preparing something basic like your food for the day, it can be a bit frustrating. So you want to make sure that you have yourself covered there. But that's going to do it for this video. Hope you liked the meme. I will leave a link to this picture down below. I'll just make an Imgur link of it. And then we can all enjoy the expansion together and getting the race to level 80. I'm gonna see if I can get server first warrior, whether I can beat Xeno or anyone else playing warrior and Sargatanas, we will see, but hopefully I can do so. So that's gonna do it for this video. It's gonna be the last video before Shadowbringers, the early access. I will be doing a podcast at 2 hours or thereabouts before the servers come up at 5 a.m. EST. So the start time is going to be around 3 to 3:30 a.m. EST. It's just going to be discussing the actual patch notes and any of the numbers that were changed, because they're going to be updating the website for the jobs like they did in Stormblood. So they had a job site where it showed you all the different jobs and what the abilities do and all that sort of stuff with the correct tool tips, so we can kind of compare that to what we saw from the media tours, as I've been doing a lot of coverage on that. So you can check those out in the other videos on my channel. That's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy the expansion. Hope you tune in to the podcast and stream. It'll be on my Twitch channel, which is always in the description down below. And if you guys tune in, I'll see you there. And if not, we'll always see you out in the middle of Eorzea or in the first, depending on which realm you're going to be in, based on the story. But have fun. Make sure you enjoy yourself. Make sure you prepare. Make sure you're in the right mindset. And hopefully the expansion is going to be a blast. I know I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. I'll see you in the next one.